day 4. And the final day, wow, what an incredible 3 days we've had leading up into today. We have gone over how to have conversations in the most gangster way possible, talking to real estate agents with high ethics, morality, transparency, and solutions. Next, we figured out how to find incredible buyers by one of the busiest people in the game. And those buyers have been doing very well. Oftentimes, Miss Brittany Berryman is bringing buyers to our deals that even we didn't find. Imagine that. And then yesterday, we had the incredible duo, Michelle and Paul, going over their workflow because, of course, guys, if we don't have a good process, everything falls apart. Today, we're going to be going over an incredible utility that every person in real estate investing needs, and that is how to comp in today's market. One of the biggest questions that I'm hearing from students, real estate investors, and even folks at my company is how do we adjust for the changing real estate market? Do we adjust 5%? Do we adjust 10%? Is that market specific? Are some markets taking a bigger adjustment than others? And these are all incredibly astute questions because yes, to all of them. Yes, to all of them. The market is changing. You have to make adjustments. Those adjustments are going to be different market to market. And we've got tips and strategies and a tool that you'll be able to use to help you figure out where things are trending. Now, this particular individual has been with me for quite some time. Mahmoud Isa originally was an engineer. Imagine that. An engineer making quite a bit of money, and during COVID decided he wanted to pick up a new hobby, and that hobby was going to be being an incredible wholesaler. Since then, he has created a business that routinely generates him anywhere between $75,000 to $150,000 a month, and homie only works 1 week a month. Imagine that. Imagine making more money than a highly paid engineer in 1 week of 1 month. Think of that. He'd be making $100,000, $150,000 through an entire year. He turned that into his monthly paycheck, and he's 3 weeks hanging out at the beach. You guys are in for a treat. Now, in typical form, before we get started, I will kick us off in a prayer. And for those of you that are going to mute me, make it happen. And for those of you that are going to join me, here we go. Father God, we love you so much, Lord. Thank you for today. Thank you for opening all our eyes and giving us breath, for giving us the minds to connect and communicate with each other. God, we are so grateful for that. Lord, we pray that you make your purpose for each of our lives abundantly clear to us, so that the steps we take are your steps, the words we speak, your words, the actions we take, your actions. God, we ask that you guide us to those individuals that will be of benefit to us, either through a financial gain or a lesson we need to learn. And we ask that you deflect us from those individuals that will waste our time or bring us harm. Lord, for any of our family members here that are in need of any additional understandings of the concepts that we teach, we pray for perfect clarity in their minds. And for any of us that are suffering through any physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual pain, Lord, we just pray for perfect healing in our lives. And Lord, it is with humble hearts, and in your heavenly name we pray. Amen. Let's get to it. Emily. Oh, look at that. I feel like you were ready this time. You're muted.
I was ready.
You were ready. I was almost thinking, should I just bypass Em and go right to Mahmoud just to, but no, we need to see your face.
Hi,
How are you
guys.
today?
I'm so good. I slept in a little bit today, feeling good, energized, ready to be here.
Beautiful, beautiful.
How
Well,
about
you
you?
look rested and energized, and we appreciate that because Mahmoud is going to keep us on our toes. Emily, if you would, bring up the star.
Oh, yeah.
Yo, what's up, everyone?
Hey, Mahmoud. Everyone in the side chat's asking, Is he single?
Why, yes, I am.
Okay.
Emily will
Well,
link
everyone,
below.
Mahmoud is single and ready to mingle. He is coming out of San Jose, California, and has one of the most incredible minds I have ever seen applied to this business of wholesale real estate. Not only is he a G when it comes to a no marketing spend business, he has zero marketing spend on any of his leads. He's one of the more connected JV wholesalers in the game. Beyond that, his technical efficiency is where I believe Mahmoud really rises to the top. And with that efficiency, he has come up with some incredibly powerful techniques on how to comp properties. He learned from the best, and I will wear that badge. Mahmoud, are you ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
My man, take it away.
All right. So welcome, everybody. We're going to dive right in. So just to give you guys a little bit of context. So in order to be an extremely successful wholesaler, and I wouldn't even say how to go above and beyond, like how to just be able to call yourself a wholesaler, there are 4 legs of this business that you need to kind of have mastered on lockdown. And those 4 legs are how to get deals sent to you, basically how to find deals, how to find opportunities. And that was day 1. John Golan did a fantastic job at showing everyone how to do that. The next thing is how to find buyers. So after you get opportunities, who do you sell those deals to? And that's where Brittany Berriman on day 2 helped us out. The third thing is how to stay organized so you don't lose track of this giant influx of deals that are constantly coming in, and lose track of all the buyers that you're keeping connections with. So Michelle really showed us spot on how to do that. And today I'm going to show you the 4th leg of the wholesale table, which is how to recognize a good deal, like what a good deal is. And when you really think about it, the skills I'm teaching you today are not skills of how to, they're going to help you, obviously work to become a master wholesaler. But I don't think anyone can consider themselves a wholesaler at all if they don't know what a good deal is. I mean, that's kind of the basic, is to know what a good deal is. And so that is extremely fundamental. And it's like, an analogy I like to use is if you worked at a restaurant, right? And, you were a chef in the back and you got an order that came into the kitchen and they were like, hey, we need 1 order of the oven baked chicken breast, right? And you go ahead and, you're cooking it, and then you randomly decide to take that dish, bring it to the customer in the lobby, right? You cut it up into a cross section and then just ask your customer, hey buddy, is this cooked all the way? Immediately the customer will walk out and give you a terrible Yelp review and never tell nobody to come to that place ever again. And that's the same thing as you guys trying to same thing as wholesalers sending terrible deals to their buyers. They're like, does this guy not know what a good deal is? Why am I looking at this right now? What's the point? And then that's why people unsubscribe from your lists, or, decide to not do business with you. And, every now and then, people might get a good deal, right? But if you're sending 3 or 4 awesome deals in the midst of 10 terrible deals every week or 2 weeks, what's happening is, you're losing your credibility with the buyer. You think a busy buyer having 6 flips at any given time, dude's a multimillionaire, is going to look at deal number 4, be like, oh, that's bad. Deal number 5 is the charm. No, you have 2 chances, maybe 3 if they had a great lunch that day, to impress them with your ability to recognize a good deal. And so that's fundamental. And so what I call this process of recognizing a good deal, I refer to it as something called filtration. It's a filter, right? You have properties that that you're looking at, whether they're, on-market deals from agents, off-market deals from agents, motivated sellers that need offers placed, or just other wholesalers sending you deals that they want you to JV on, whatever it is, it's your job to take those deals and only allow the good ones to come out of the filter, right? And into your buyer's email, right? So now I've said the word good deal a lot, so I have to define it, right? What is a good deal? A good deal is defined as an opportunity that's sent to you that with your profit included, with your fee included, there is substantial evidence that suggests that this will be a desirable purchase by an end buyer. Okay, that's what a good deal is. Now, when we're sending deals through the filter, there are two stages. There's stage one and stage two. Stage one is comping, right? Which I'm about to show you. I'm going to show you guys how to do stage one and stage two. But stage one is comping. What's comping? It's basically where you go ahead and you have a subject property and you're trying to determine the after repair value of that subject property. And so you look for a recently sold property that proves that after repair value, right? Now, here's the funny thing. Comping alone by itself, does it tell you whether or not a deal is good or bad? You might think, yeah, of course, Mahmoud. That's the whole point of comping, is to figure out if this deal is good or bad. What are you talking about? Well, the actual answer is no, it doesn't. Let me give you an example. Right now, for example, pick a market that I don't work in. Let's say South Dakota. Will I be able to comp a deal in South Dakota? Yes, probably in like 4 minutes. I can come with a pretty reliable comp in South Dakota. But will I be able to tell you if the deal is good? Absolutely not. I know nothing about that market, right? I don't know what the investor active zip codes are, the neighborhoods are. I don't know like the dollar per square footage value that rehabbers are going to spend on a light rehab versus a heavy rehab versus a full cosmetic versus a gut. I don't know those things. And so I can't comment on if the margins are going to be acceptable enough after I comp the deal in order to get the deal moved. Okay. Like for example, a 70% or 65%, ARV deal in Arizona might sell in a second. That same thing in certain parts of Atlanta, Georgia will never sell, right? In the same condition. So that's why it's important to have a stage two. Since comping is not enough, stage one is not enough, stage two, which is something called deal analysis. The deal analysis is after you have your ARV, what thought processes and what tools you use to determine the price that you're going to say this is going to go to the end buyer at this price. Okay. So deal analysis depends on something called market research, right? So it's studying the market and trying to determine those questions that I outlined a few minutes ago, like what are the neighborhoods that people are buying in, what margins are people buying in, the dollar per square footage value for each of the rehab costs, and so on and so forth, right? And also, a few other things. So market research is done in one of three ways: talking to other wholesalers that are crushing it in this business, in that market, talking to buyers, and using my favorite platform, Privy, right? Those are my three ways that I do market research. I'm going to show you the Privy way today. Just wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a lecture before I shared my screen and we started doing some Privy comps. So let's go ahead and get my screen all shared up over here. All right, share screen.
I just saw somebody ask, what's your Instagram in the chat? Guys, I got his Instagram up there for you, the REI engineer, his YouTube channel, and his email. Mahmoud, what market are you in?
I am currently in the Atlanta market. I'm in Indianapolis. Recently, I've moved to I've added Tampa and Orlando as my markets, and then really anywhere in California. So
cool. Do you want people to send you deals or?
Oh, absolutely.
We don't want deals.
I
No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, no. I'll take a look at it.
Yeah, guys, send them your deals. Email.
Yeah. Email me, reach out to me. Yeah, I'd say email is probably the best way to send me deals for sure. But feel free to connect with me on any of my platforms that I've added. So
yeah, guys, Mahmoud is the best. Get connected with him.
All right, thanks, Emily. Let me see if I can share my screen here. I'm gonna do my best to not make an infinity mirror.
Yeah, so I'll add it to screen once you clicked your different browser. There you go. We can see your screen.
All right, sweet. All right, we're good?
We're good.
You can see the privy, right? Just the
Yep.
privy? All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about now, or rather the next thing we're going to talk about is how to comp, right? So we're going to, I'm going to start actually by picking an Atlanta property so you guys can see what it looks like to comp a distressed property here. So 179 Haygood Avenue, Southeast, Atlanta, Georgia. Let's click on this thing. All right, so we can look at this. It says rebuild or tear down. One thing is when you look at a property and when you look at like a listing of a property and you don't see and you don't have like pictures for it, sometimes you can look at the property remarks down here and it'll kind of give you an idea of what the house is, like what condition it's in. And so this is telling me that it's going to be like a tear down. So yeah, we'll try and find the ARV, something like this. So automatically when you go down, when you scroll down on privy, you go to the comparables section. Okay. So I'm going to talk about a few different things in this privy environment for you to take into account. So immediately privy already filters what it thinks our comps are, what it thinks the comps are. And because you see, I can do all activity and it'll give me like way more selections, but I'm going to uncheck all activity because it's just showing me the comps, what it thinks the comps are. So it already does a lot of the heavy lifting for you just immediately, which is super awesome. And then when you come up here, you can notice this square. This square shows you, so from the center point here where the property is, if you go any horizontal or vertical direction through this square is going to be half a mile. So it's so like over here, this is half a mile away, to the left, half a mile. So this is all half a mile. So it's basically making it so that you don't go over half a mile within the subject property. So it makes it super convenient. Now, if you want to narrow it down even further and you don't want to like cross any major roads or anything like that, you can actually use the pencil over here on the right-hand corner in the middle of the collapse button and the eraser, the pencil to further dial down your subdivision if you want. Like for example, right now, if I decide I don't want to cross Atlanta Avenue and I don't want to cross whatever this railroad, it looks like a railroad is. So I'm like, okay, this is going to be my little subdivision over here. I'm going to kind of just stay there, and this is nice because looks like there's only one property left if I did that. So let's see if this might actually be our comp. It might have literally taken me only those 2 minutes to comp this thing. So we'll see. So this is right next to it. Over here in the bottom, you can take a look and you can see this information at the top is always going to lock in the subject property. So you can kind of scroll and just compare it with the comp. So I'm like, okay, what do I care about? I care about the square footage being plus or minus 200 square feet. And it looks like this square footage satisfies that box. Year built within 10 years. It looks like this satisfies that as well. The lot size being within 2,500 square feet. It looks like it satisfies that for the most part. It might be a little bit different, but this is still fine because the comp, it's what we're going to use as the comp is a smaller lot. So what would we care more about if the comp was like more than 2,500 square feet, larger than larger than the subject? Then we would be like, okay, that might not be the best. But this is fine. I mean, it's about 2,500. It's a little more, so it's fine. All right, and so we have here a 5.2, and this is a 3.2. And so what we're going to do here is, according to the appraisal rules, well, first, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's see if it's a renovated property, right? Let's see if it's renovated. It looks like it's pretty renovated, all right? Yeah. All right, now let's scroll down over here and we can see, yeah, it's renovated, looks good. And yeah, this is, this doesn't look like it was flipped per se, but it definitely is. Like, you wouldn't be able to go and find the seller of this and they would have them think they're an investor, because the seller is probably not an investor. How do I know that? How am I guessing that? Well, because it last sold in 2010, and after it was remodeled, it sold in 2022. So usually flips, they would be like last sold in 2021, and the before would be 2021, the after would be 2022, because, you know, they buy it for a short term, they fix it up, and they flip it. So this is a comp, but it's not going to be like the seller of the finished flip is not going to be a investor. They could still be a cash buyer. I mean, anyone can. So you could still call them and see if they're interested in another project, but they're not it's not pretty obvious that they're a flip, if that makes sense. So if I wanted to use this as a comp, it looks kind of like it checks out everything. What we would do is, so I want to, for the sake of educational purposes, I want you guys to assume this is a full gut and not a teardown. Just stay with me for a second. I want you to assume this is a full gut. If this is a full gut, that means the infrastructure still exists for the 5-bed or 2-bath, right? And the comp is a 3-bed, 2-bath. So because the the comp is sold at $405K, with only having 3 beds, while our subject has 5, means we can add $10,000 per additional bedroom to that ARV. So the ARV would be, instead of 405, it would be 425 for this. Now, yeah. Now here's the interesting part. You guys can already kind of tell this is probably, at this listing price, this is probably a terrible deal, right? We just comped it. We just got the ARV of 425. This is asking for 349. Let's see how long it's been listed. Let's just see, right? Let's look and see. Listed 121 days ago. Yeah. So this is a seller that's not budging. But yeah. So again, my ARV is 425. Now, I told you to assume it was a gut, meaning leaving the existing infrastructure, because most of your properties that you guys are going to be looking at, most of them aren't going to be teardowns. So I wanted to show you how to comp with a house that's actually going to continue to be a house. Whereas if it was a teardown, you actually wouldn't comp it with a property in 1940. You would comp it with a property as like a new construction, year built 2022, that has like a similar lot size. Yeah, I think you would use like, you would find the ARV of that new construction. And then you would multiply, I think it was like 15% of ARV, something like that. I don't do a lot of teardowns, but I'm pretty sure that's kind of the current consensus. Okay. So that's how we do that. Let's do one or two more before I go into the next thing I wanted to show you guys. Let's do 2005 Arlington circle. All right. Here's this one. Okay. This one's also pretty beat up. It looks like a full gut as well. Full gut renovation or a tear down, right? So this is basically saying, this is essentially saying you need to have your inspector to go and take a look at this to make sure that the bones are actually still good, like that all the beams are actually still good, and that it doesn't require an actual tear down, right? But let's, again, assume a full gut. Scroll down here. We're back at our square, all right? Half a mile up, half a mile down, half a mile left, half a mile right. Okay, so what is the first thing I do now that I have? Well, the first thing I do, again, is I have to take the pencil and I have to outline the subdivision again, all right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come around here. I'm stopping before Joseph E. Boone, and I'm going to go right at the bottom of the 78. And I'd say this is all the same subdivision. I'm pretty happy with this. All right. Now we're over here and we see a few different things. All right. This has a lot more investor activity than the last one, which is great. It's a good case study, good example. So the first thing I do, I notice is there's a lot happening right here. So what do I want to do? I want to narrow down my choices. So the first thing that I decide to do to narrow things down is I'm going to click on the built part, because when you click on it, it sorts it sorts by increasing, and if I click on it again, it sorts from decreasing your build. So I want to start from decreasing, and I just want to see if everything in here is like plus or minus 10 years. Okay, so it seems like the lowest is 1938 and the highest is 1950. And I'll keep the 1950s. Actually won't eliminate anything. I mean, what's a couple more years to 10 years, there might be actually a fantastic comp here. So I don't want to outrule any options too early. Yeah, so let's see. We sorted by year built. So there's a few different, so now you have a couple different things you can do. I can actually go with updated. So this is like, this will show like when it was recently sold. So if I only want to go back like 60 days, for example, like if I don't want to use any of the Januaries, for instance, let's just like remove all the Januaries and the Februaries because those are too old. Maybe remove some of the Marches, right? I'll keep the Marches for now, just to kind of, I don't want to eliminate everything. I just want to, I'm just kind of putting my feelers out there. Now let's sort by price and see what's up there. Okay, so I got my 115, and I'm gonna now look for the highest thing. What is the highest thing here? Actually, I want to go to my active and just eliminate them because active isn't going to help me here. So I'm going to come back and be like, okay, here's a 345. There's two 345s. So let's click on one and see. So this looks terrible. So this was sold on March 14th, but there's another. Let's see. Yeah. So this we're not going to use it again, but here's the thing. Sometimes I like to double check Redfin over here. Okay, so it actually looks more renovated on a Redfin. It's good. It's nothing good with cross-checking different stuff. All right, so that looks fully upgraded, ranch-style home. Awesome. So this looks fully upgraded. All right. So this is a 4.3 1536. So it was a 2.2 768 that got turned into a 4.3 1536 house. That was how it sold at 345. It did not sell at 345 as a 2.2 768 looking like a barn. It sold at 345 4.3 1536 looking renovated. So now I know that a 4.3 at 1,500 square feet is going to sell at 345. What is that telling me right now about our property? I need to, that as at its current bed and bath combo and square footage, the ARV is going to be way less than what? Than 345. So we're going to continue going down to the next number. So I'm kind of playing the role of like an auction guy, right? So I'm like, what's the highest? 345. So I'm going to come and see the second highest. All right, we got a 290 hiding back there. Let's see. This is a 3.1 961. Dang, this is like an exact comp. Okay, let's take a look. Again, I just like to do a little bit of cross-referencing. Let's see. All right, so this sold as a 3.1 931. This home is very clean and in move-in condition, fully renovated. See, here's again, my trick is if I can't, because in order for me to use something as a comp, it has to be fully renovated. And if there aren't pictures, like 20 pictures for me to see if it's renovated, you can just look at the about this home section and just read, and it'll tell you. So I like that. So this is a 3.1 931 that sold for 290, and it's a 3.1. This is the same house. Oh, they just painted it different. Cool. And they remodeled the whole thing. Yeah, and I think just the recording of the square footage wasn't super accurate. I don't think they subtracted any like 30 square feet. It might have been reappraised or remeasured, and so maybe the second time they measured it, they got 931. I don't know how this number is different, but yeah, it was flipped, right? So it was flipped. Let me kind of take a look over here and see. And so what I did is I scroll down to our comp, the 796, and I'm looking at what it was bought for and what it was sold for, right? So they bought this thing, and remember what I told you about, you can tell if it's a flip, if it was like, the before is very close to the after. So this is the same thing, not like that 2010 one we saw. This is bought in basically January 2022 and sold in June 2022. So it was a quick 6-month flip. All right. So they bought it at 145, renovated it, and then sold it at 290. Okay. So that's telling you a little bit about the what's going on. But again, I want to stay focused. I'm not going to show you about market research just yet. I almost trickled into it, but I don't want to, not yet. Okay, so we can say that the ARV is around around 290 for this.
Mahmoud.
So, yes.
Hey, Benson here. What's going on, guys? Yeah, I wanted to show you a new little trick that we added to the CMA for that comp you just pulled on Commodore.
All right.
If you pull that one up, in the details section, we added a new link where it says view external listing.
Boom, it pulls me right over to it. Awesome.
It pulls you right into it. So we realized that in some areas where we don't have direct to MLS data, we're just trying to make it easier to have access to better photos and pictures and stuff. And so that was added recently as a way to just kind of shortcut that whole process.
Oh, wow. Fantastic. That's amazing. Sweet. You guys, that's the one. Also, the other thing I love about Privy is, other than it being an extremely user-friendly environment to meet all of your software needs, they also listen to like all of our suggestions. And I wasn't the one who made this suggestion, but I'm sure someone else did, and instantly it's on there. So it's such an amazing thing where we can all be part of we can all be using software that we know that if we want it to be better, we can get it. So that's fantastic. Thanks so much, Benson.
No problem.
Yeah. So We are at, oh yeah, my muscle memory is, okay, so we're at $290,000 ARV. So we can kind of come back. All right. And I like that comp. I really do. So I'm going to see if there's anything higher than it or anything that beats it. No, this is literally the highest one. So I'm pretty sure this is going to be our comp. Let's go into the solds over here and just kind of, you know, check around as well. Let's order them by price. Yeah, see, this is the second highest. It's definitely the comp. So yeah, we're at 290K, and yeah, that's our ARV. Cool. All right. All right. Emily, is there any way I have access to looking at the chat so I can kind of read people's comments as I'm going? Or
do you have two screens on? Do you have two monitors?
I do have two monitors.
Maybe you can pull the StreamYard one over to your other monitor. I don't know how that works. But the chat should be on your right side on StreamYard.
Okay.
Right there.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe while you're comping,
Yeah.
right?
No worries. Actually, instead, just if anyone asks like a very important question, just let me know and I'll answer it. I just want to make sure that they're not saying you're moving too fast. And
yeah, no, we haven't had you're moving too fast, but I've seen this question. Do you look for only one comp? I've seen that a couple times. So like, how many comps do you look for?
Yeah. So my rationale and how I do the approach is I'm looking for a comparable, like kind of just like how I showed you. It has to match. Like it has to be comparable. Exactly. Not like, you know, square feet all across the map and then I just average the dollars per square foot. We don't comp that way here. We don't do that. So I look for a very similar comp, and if there's only one, in this case there was one, I took it. If there were three, I would have taken them. Heck, if there were five, I would have taken them all, right? And maybe averaged those because they're all super similar, right? But you just usually one is enough. I mean, it's data, right? So yeah, that's if you can find more than one, if you can find three, I try to get up to three, but if you can find three, fantastic, you know. Yeah, I've sold plenty of properties from just putting my one main, basing the ARV on my one main super comp. So yeah.
Cool. Do you make any adjustments for square footage?
I do. Yeah. As I showed, and I can kind of get into it a little bit more. So the way that we adjust for square footage is, or the way that we adjust in general. So for square feet, oh, I thought you meant bed bath. You meant do I adjust for square footage? Only if it's like if my ARV is an addition. Okay. So for example, if I'm comping a 3-1 and you know, if I'm comping a 3-bed 1-bath house and it's 1,000 square feet, and there's a house that's a 3-bed 2-bath at 1,500 square feet, and I look at the ARV of that house and I'm like, man, you know, like if I use if I like use that as a comp, the ARV would be way higher. What I do is I run the numbers factoring in for adding 500 square feet, like when I'm doing my like repair costs, and I see if the deal becomes even better. So short answer only during addition plays. But when I'm comping the way that you guys just saw, I don't, as long as I'm within that plus or minus 200 square feet realm, that's usually good enough for me.
Okay, and then another one that I've seen a couple times was, what would you offer on that deal? So I'm sure you're probably going to get into it, but I think they want to see like how you come up with your.
Yeah, I love the enthusiasm, everyone. We're doing everything in order, you guys. I'm showing you how to comp now, and the comp, as I mentioned, is when you get an ARV and you get a recently sold property to prove it. Okay, I'm just trying to show you guys these skills as opposed to showing you 9 different skills at one time, and you're like, whoa, what's happening right now? He's doing too much. So that was just me showing you how to get a comp. Now, yeah, so I'm gonna, they're definitely gonna see that. So yeah.
I love it, Mahmood. You always have a plan and you make it so digestible for people. Thank you.
That's the point. That's the idea. Yeah. So I'm telling them, just don't worry about offer prices right now. I'm just showing you how to get an ARV. That's it. Right.
Perfect.
So far. All right.
Let's go.
All right. So now what we talked about 4 legs, we talked about filtration, we talked about how to comp. You guys know how to comp now. You saw me do it. You'll see me do it in a little bit more. But now I want to show you how to do market research. Now, why am I skipping to market research? Isn't that super off topic? No, it's not. So market research is basically going to show me what other flips, is basically going to show me what the percentage of ARV should be for me to lock up a deal. That's basically going to be that's basically what market research is going to show you. So I'm going to come over here to my searches. I have a saved search, and we're going to go to market research in Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay. And this is the 28215 zip code that I have over here. Okay. And the goal here is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to figure out right now where buyers are like what buyers are initially buying the properties for, and then what are they selling them for once they're flipped. We're trying to figure out that margin. If you come over here to my little spreadsheet I have up, you see some of my market research. So in that one zip code. So I basically I'm looking for addresses on Privy, okay? And I have distinction here. So like I'm trying to be as specific as possible. So it's like left of I-24, right of I-24, because we have this like zip code and then we have this 24, and I'm just trying to see if there's a difference between the left of the 24 and the right of the 24. But the idea here is I have the address, we have the price that they bought the flip for, and then we have the resale price. So for example, let's show you, oh yeah, I have the privy links too. So for example, if we go to this one, right, looks like a beautiful house, right? Sold July 18th. If you scroll down to the bottom, okay, in the before and after, all right, the price is $250 and the ARV is $415. So they bought this thing at $250,000 and they sold it at $415. Okay, so that's going to they bought it at 60% of ARV, meaning this is telling me that, you know, if I went ahead and found a property in the same condition as this was, and I'm already going to automatically assume it was kind of, you know, a light cosmetic. That's what I default to, light cosmetic. That if I offer 60% ARV, you know, they're gonna buy it, and their rehab costs and their profit and their listing fees and all that is tied into the remaining 40%, right? So I just need to make sure I get it to them at 60%. So I was like, but this is one data point, right? One data point. So what I did was, when I entered it into my market research notebook here, I was like, okay, so 250, 415, 60% ARV. And I'll show you how to do this later, but I was able to get the information from the guy who bought it in case I want to sell him a new deal. So you can build buyers as you're doing market research. It's the best. Purchased on or off market, off market. How did I know that he bought the deal off or on market? Because in the before section, it says public records. If in the before it said MLS NMLS number 123 whatever, I would have known that if it had the MLS number, I would have known that they bought it as an on-market property. So it's just good to know. And then because for example, Ann Murphy Martin's over here, she bought her property on market. So that means, dang, if I bring her an on-market property that I find on Privy, she's already bought one before. So it's just extra, extra comfort. So, and then I put the rehab type: lipstick, basic, gut job, or just destroyed, right? And then over here, I have agent. So I have the name of the agent and their group. And then I have my Privy link. Okay. So when I come over here to public records and I go to property history, you go to the most recent sale. Who's the buyer of this most recent sale? A homeowner that is going to be living in this beautifully newly flipped property. But who's the seller? The investor, the flipper person. So the seller, this is whose number I want to know. And like Brittany showed us on Tuesday, you want to put this into opencorporates.com, and then it's going to give you the name of the owner of the company and a mailing address, and then you're going to take that information, put it on True People Search, and you're going to get a phone number, and you're going to call it, and you're going to introduce yourself. Okay, and that's how you make a new buyer, right? So this is just if you wanted to get into a workflow where you build buyers list as you're doing market research, that this is how you do it. And then I also have you can get the agent here at the bottom if you ever want to talk to the agent and reach the buyer through the agent. So just food for thought while you're doing market research. Okay. So just like I showed you how I went and I clicked on I'm just clicking on these recently sold flips, and I'm seeing like, okay, so this was bought at 250, sold for 415. This was bought at 282, sold for 415. 179, 385. You guys look, there's a trend. Look at this. This is in the high threes, low fours. And I have like almost 10 data points that shows me that. And all of these are in like the mid to late to high twos. So, and if I come over here, I just look at the percentage ARVs, I'm eyeballing this. I'm like, okay, so we got 60, 69, 74, 51, 72, 47, 61, 68. So this is telling me that, the buyers are going to want to be purchasing deals. I see most of these in the 60s, a little bit in the 70s. I'm looking at some outliers. It looks like the 46 is an outlier property. But most of these are going to be like in the 60s, right? So for me to make money, what am I trying to offer as a wholesaler, right? On deals in the zip code, right? Probably like maybe 57, 56, right? Something like that, maybe 55. Because if I can plan to get them dispoed at 60, right? Because these are all 66, 68, 73, 71, 67, 60. If I can plan to get it disposed to 60, obviously I might be able to get it more, but then that'll just tell me, all right, if I can get these offers, get my offers accepted at around 55 or so, then that's going to be a pretty solid margin for me to make some money. Okay. So, now again, I can come over here and take a look and see the, where is it? See the rehab type. Okay. Now to answer your guys' question, about the, like what offer would have I made on that other property, right? On the Arlington one, what would I made? So if I did, I'm going to answer this a few different ways. So the main thing that I wanted to say was, if I'm continuing to do market research and I find 2 to 3 like properties that were bought as the rehab type was a gut job, and I look over here and I see like 25% or 35%, and it's all within like 35 to 45% that they're buying it at, I'm going to try and lock up a deal at 25 to 30%. Okay. So that's one of the real avenues that you can go when doing that. And the reason that I love doing market research this way is because, you know, you can actually go ahead and rely on data that's houses that were sold extremely recently. So that way you don't have to, like, you know, use pre-market correction comps of like March or February, right? So
Mahmoud, can I make a comment?
yes.
I love the spreadsheet you're using, by the way.
Thank you.
What I like to do, and this is great, is you can definitely, you know, average, or if you notice that there's a certain group of buyers that are buying low, like you just mentioned, and you're trying to find it at 25.
Yeah.
You can also choose which buyers you want to work with, right? So if you have a set of buyers that you know are motivated, they understand the market conditions better, they're more willing to pay a higher percentage of ARV because of the way their business is set up, then you can target those buyers as your main, you know, pool, and then have a strategy of finding stuff for them specifically. So, you know, choose who you want to work with. If you have buyers that are buying low and you like working with them because they're doing more volume, that's great. But if you can find buyers that are paying a higher amount, then it's actually easier to find deals for them if they're actively looking for deals consistently.
Yeah, that's another solid way to do it, is just to call these people, and, like, for example, call the person that bought it at the 71.79%, the guy who bought strength for it, and just talk to him and build that relationship and tell him, and basically say, so if I bring you deals that are in that 70% ARV of similar condition, will you pick those up? And then just continue to funnel those. Is that what you're basically saying, Benson?
I do, yeah. Again, it's low hanging fruit, right? Like, yeah, if you find
Super.
something at 25%, great. Because when you set the filter in Privy, right, and you're going to show that here in a second, it'll find stuff at 25, right? And then you know
Yeah.
who to send it to. But it'll also find stuff at 70 if you set it at 70, and then you know who that goes to.
Yeah, exactly. So that's in kind of tying it all in, you guys, is it's basically what Benson's saying is, like, you could actually, you want to kind of get to know the buyers. So, like, if you were to find those gut properties, right? Taking it a step further from just knowing what price, what percentage of ARV the buyers are going to buy houses in that condition, you can just literally call them and they're now going to be buying houses like that. So it kind of ties everything all together, and definitely recommend that. So I'm going to show you guys how to do this a little bit, how to use the filters. So you can actually click filter over here. It's just, you just go to the top of the privy and you click filter. Okay. And let's say now I looked at my, well, let's say first, you know, what are my filters here for doing the market research, right? I just did single family, sold. I kept the ARV default at 75% or less. And I sorted by date sold, and then I did date range, last 60 days sold. This was from my last market research campaign, right? So now it would be more recent, but okay. So now if you want to go ahead and find deals that, so let's say I went ahead and I'm like, so I'm gonna do it the way that I suggested and the way that Benson suggested, because both are phenomenal. And I actually recommend Benson's way as more low-hanging fruit. But the way that I would have done it is I'm just looking at these numbers and I'd say, okay, the general consensus here is that I need to be at around 55 for me to make money, and 60% is what generally is going to sell by everybody. So if I'm marketing to a bunch of people and I want to have a lot of people look at it, and I'll try to lock up to find opportunities at 55%. And so what I would do is I'd come over here, I'd take the slider to 55%, I'd take it to active, okay, single family, active, sold by days on market. Okay. And actually, I don't want to ruin that filter. Let me just go to my on market deals filter. Yeah, so active 58%, days on market, and just past week, what just came up. All right. You can also do way further beyond and, you know, find some motivated sellers that would be accepting reductions. But this will show me like stuff that's already coming in at asking in the past week. So I run search. Okay. And let's see. Looks like there's nothing. Let's kind of expand a little bit. Okay, so we have some stuff in here. Okay, so let's click on this one, 5321 Ruth Drive. This showed up because Privy thinks that it's listed for 58% of the ARV, for example. Isn't that cool? So I can actually now come down here. Okay. And I can go ahead and comp it, right? So let's do that. Let me again take the pencil. I don't want to cross the plaza. Okay. Come over here, take a look at the year built. If anything looks too old, I'm going to sort by price now. Here's this 345. Looks good. Let's click on it. This is a 3-bed, 2-bath, 1959, smaller lot. Pretty good though. Very similar square footage. Voila. See how fast that took me? I really don't think I took 60 seconds to comp this house. That's the power and the magic of Privy, you guys. It didn't even take me 60 seconds and I got it. And now this is 3 beds, 2 baths. Ours is 3-bed, 1-bath, right? So if our, since this is 345 with 2 bathrooms and we only have 1 bathroom, we chop it down 10 grand. We go and we call the ARV 335 for this one, 335. Okay. So that's the ARV is 335. All right. And what I can do now is I can, let me see, let's come back over here. What happened? Oh, that was a different Privy link. Yeah. So ARV 335, purchase price 225. Let me just real quick put into this calculator here what percentage ARV at. That's 67%. So that's not what we want. So we have it right now at 67%. Let's take a look at the pictures now so we can come up with our offer. Okay. Well, looking at it, it looks kind of heavy, but let's read. Calling all investors, flippers, builders, tons of potential. Okay. All right. So I'm going to assume, I'm going to inquire with the agent, but I'm going to assume this to be, either a full gut or a full cosmetic. Again, I'll have to talk to the agent to be more clear. So you could probably talk to the agent first, but I'm probably gonna I'm getting kind of I almost did a terrible pun, you guys, but I stopped myself. Okay, I have to say it now. I have a gut feeling. Okay, I'm done. Sorry, you guys are never gonna follow me now. Okay, but yeah. So need a full renovation. Okay, so full renovation, that usually means full gut, not full cosmetic. Again, people's lingo different from investor to investor to agent. I don't know when they say full if they mean full cosmetic or literally full gut, but I'm going to assume full gut. So what we're going to do is normally, so what the Benson way would be to go ahead and continue doing market research until you find a house that's been flipped from a gut, okay? And then you look at that percentage ARV, all right? You find a house as you're going through your market research, you find a house that was flipped from a gut. It was a gut and now it's nice and shiny. You find that, you look at the percentage ARV, you call the buyer, you talk to them, you build a rapport with them, and you say, hey, can I bring you more full guts, and will you buy them similar to the price that you bought that other house at? Sure, perfect, awesome. And then let's say that percentage is, let's say 35% of ARV, for example, all right? After you're continuing doing your market research and your list building or your buyer's list, relationships, like 35%. So what I would do then is I would come in and use 335 because we minus 10K, 335. Again, I'm using a spreadsheet like a calculator because I don't want to pull one up. And that's 117,250. All right. So 117,250 would be, for example, what I would offer on that property. Okay. Now, me personally, so that's one way to do it to come up with your offer price. Okay. So I want to kind of, now that I kind of taught you guys a lot of stuff, we're now going to, because we've been zooming in a lot. I want to zoom out again. We're going to do another zoom out. All right. Now I'm going to kind of go back to the basics and kind of take all the puzzle pieces that you just learned and put them back into a puzzle again. Because now I think we jumbled up just a tad. So I want to kind of go back. All right. So filtering a deal, there are 2 steps. Comping a property, and I'm sure you guys know now how to comp a property, and what comping means is finding an ARV. Okay, cool. And then analyzing the deal, meaning what offer should I make on this property, right? And what offer should I make, and what price will the buyer actually pick it up for, right? So the deal analysis, I showed you the way to do it where you use privy market research, the privy way, right? So I show you how to go in, look at the recently sold properties in that particular zip code over the last 2 months, and then you're just filling up your market research spreadsheet, okay? And you're taking note of, the original price, the resale price, percentage ARV, who bought it, if it's offer on market, but this one is important, the rehab type, because now if you keep, so basically once you do that, now you can go in, and as you're looking at deals, you can consult this sheet and say, okay, full gut, let's use this buyer, and this is the percentage ARV that we're gonna put an offer on. Bingo, right? Cool. That is one method of doing deal analysis, quote unquote. Okay, that is method numero uno. That is the first one. That is one, and it's probably the most accurate, if I'm being honest, because it shows real data but by real buyers. Okay. Now another way that you can do this deal analysis is by basically talking to other wholesalers, talking to other investors, figuring out buy boxes. And for me personally, through my market research of talking to other wholesalers and other buyers in Charlotte, North Carolina, I basically deduced that, for example, and this applies really to many places in the East Coast and the Southeast in general, but it's like $20 a square foot, for example, for cosmetic, $40 a square foot for a full cosmetic. So lipstick 20, full cosmetic $40 a square foot, gut $60 a square foot, and a destroyed like properties like $75 a square foot. So again, you could totally use your whatever rehab calculators you have and kind of crank it out that way, or you could just use like a zero, so like a fixed rate. Like I know that a full cosmetic in Charlotte would need to be locked up at like 55%. And then so 10% lower than that is a full gut, full cosmetic, 10% lower than that is a full gut, et cetera. So there's different ways I'm just letting you know that the privy way is like the most accurate. It takes some time, but it's accurate as heck. So yeah, I'm going to right now check on the comments, make sure that I didn't melt everybody's brains yet and we're all still with me and no one got insanely lost. Okay, let's see. Let's see. When you guys say I lost him, does that mean you're confused or you guys literally got disconnected from me because I froze? Again, I can slow down for people. That's what I'm for. But just trying to make sure we're still on track.
You didn't freeze. I think maybe she got confused.
Okay, I'm just trying to make sure.
The chat is being so awesome though and helping each other out and answering a lot of questions. So I really appreciate that, guys. That's awesome. Thank you.
Fantastic. Oh my God, Boss Ladies of Houston LLC says, love how Mahmood keeps it so simple. I am trying. I feel like I'm sounding so complicated right now, but I am trying. So thank you for validating that. I'm trying my best. Okay, cool.
Hey, Mahmood, I saw a good question here that you could answer.
Yeah, let's take
Do you go after seasoned properties or do you go after new ones? Some people are asking about 30-day seasoning. Is that something you factor into your deal searching?
Like on market for 30 days or more?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it just depends on the angle I feel like taking that day, right? Like if I want to pick up a property that got listed on the MLS, like, within the last 48 hours, and I feel like I can, lock it up at listing and move it instantly, I'll go ahead and do that, right? But if I want to, if it's a good deal as it comes on the market, but I like to go to season properties because the cool thing with that is, the sellers are likely to accept a price reduction, and because they've been sitting on it for a while, and usually at that point, if it's sitting on there, the price isn't going to work by a normal investor. So yeah, I like to do that, and again, you can just go and click. Like if I ever want to save that, I can just go click on the filter. And then I can come in and say, keep my filter on like that, active single family 28215, and I can go like past. I can even go like.
There's the days on market filter right there, Mahmood.
Yeah. There's the days on market filter.
DOM.
Yeah, I guess you would go. You can also filter out the date range. That's what I do, right? Like you can kind of, if you like, for example, if I only want to see properties that are that were listed at least 30 days ago, wouldn't I be able to just do that, right?
You can. There's also the DOM filter that's just directly above the date range. That oftentimes you can put 30 days in the low or 60, and then that will create that floor.
Learning new stuff. All right. Yeah, you can totally do that. That's awesome. Okay. Now I don't want to do that. But okay, so if you filter that, does that override the date function?
They're actually a little bit different. So the timeline is going to be things that match your criteria. So, for example, if you're sorting by days on market, it'll show days on market, but you could sort by sold date and it would show something different. You could sort by ARV and it would show something different. So the days on market is always going to be focused on days on market, whereas the timeline is going to be focused based off of what you sort on.
Yeah, no, because I'm on active. It's going to show me days on market in this case, right? Or
right, yeah. So if you did this, and you did past month, it would have very few results.
Yeah, I would have to. So how do I get this to override this? Because I can't just leave this blank, right?
You could put it as all.
Oh, okay. So that's how you do it. Okay, cool. This seems a lot more clean. Yeah, so I was just showing you guys is if I wanted to do something like this and just show what was listed between the last 30 and 60 days, I could go save, is it, Benson, is it save as or save search? If I don't want it to override any of my other searches.
It'd be save as. So it'll basically clone it and then create a new one with any of the adjustments that you want.
Yeah. 30 to 60 days, 30 to 60 DOM, and then it's in my Charlotte folder, and I save it, and then I can kind of come back to my searches, and it's right there. So, yeah, great question. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, and sometimes you won't find properties if they don't exist. So if there's not a 30 to 60 day match right now, well, there might be one next week, right? Because he was looking at a property that was at 58%. So it isn't just any property that's between 30 and 60 days. It was a property that matched all of his other deal criteria and was at 58%. So the fact that there's not a match today doesn't mean it's a bad search. It just means you need to save it. And then when there is a match, it'll alert you with an email.
Exactly. Yeah. And they can get alerts, and you can have alerts on, I think, right? Or is it automatically on?
It's automatically on. So as soon as you save a search, if it's a deal search, or if you're trying to build your buyers list and you want to be notified of new investor activity, anytime you save a search, it'll send you an email alert, whatever your set frequency is. So the default is daily, but if you're active like Mahmoud is, then you would put hourly. That way, when you check in the morning, if there's something that comes on at noon, you can get an offer out immediately.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Do we have any other questions? Or because if I don't have other questions, I'm just going to keep comping and go back to more comps and stuff. So is there anything that looks pressing, you guys? Let's see. I'll take some Q&A. All right.
Somebody was asking about looking at a property in the Tampa area, potentially comping a property. That's one of your markets.
Yeah, I can go ahead and look for some Tampa properties to comp. Why not? Let's do that. All right. Sorry, two going so.
Oh, there's been a question, Mahmoud, about the shifting market, and then using comps that are newer, as well as potentially even pending comparables or under contract, as a way of predicting where prices are going.
Yeah. So there are two. Okay, in that case, let's go back to my previous search. Let's ignore Tampa for a little bit. So there are two ways. Come on. Two main ways that I like to that kind of help me adjust for the shifting market. Number one, I just spent half an hour showing all of you how to do it, which is the market research, right? If you're looking at properties that were sold in the last 30 days or the last however many days, you can, you know that those properties were sold extremely recently, right? And so, it wasn't affected by the over amplified prices that we saw in March and April before the market corrected, right? So it was at the end of the hump if those deals were sold in the last 30 or so days. So you can, by going in and doing the market research of deals that were sold extremely recently, you can just go off of those ARVs. Because when you say how do you adjust, what are you adjusting for? We're adjusting for ARVs, right? That were over, that are because we're adjusting for ARVs, and the only time we need to like that, when people are talking about adjusting ARVs, they're talking about like people who are using ARVs, using comps of like March and April and February. So if you don't have to use those comps, you don't have any problem. You don't need to adjust for anything. If your comp is like an August 15th comp or an August 13th, August 12th, August 1st, July 31st, just use those. You don't need to adjust for anything. At least I haven't seen evidence that says so. It's just if it's like a March or April. But the nice thing is, now what do you do if you don't have comps like March or April.
That's the question.
We don't have August, comps and stuff.
You have to use what's there. You just have to get more liberal about what your comp criteria is.
Exactly.
Because you have to comp it out. You can't just ignore the deal and move on if there's not comps, right?
Yeah.
That fit your comping rules, right? People have mentioned several times, oh, so the comping rules have changed. No, the comping rules vary depending upon the market and that specific property. But let's say you have a really unique property. It's a one-story ranch. It's 1,000 square feet, and it's in a sea of 2-story, 2,000 square foot houses.
Yeah.
Well, there aren't any true comps, right? So you have to start to get liberal and creative with your comping. You may have to use a house that's 500 square foot larger, but then you might use some other things to make it more similar, like the price per square foot. It would be right. Or maybe you have to use a house that is 0.75 miles away instead of 0.5 miles, because this is what an appraiser is going to do. They're going to come up with a value either way.
Either way, that's where creativity and algorithmic, just by the book, overlap, and we need to start being more creative and just problem solving. And also, the pending properties. I don't know if I showed you guys this. Come back over here to the on market deals. Let's see, past month. So hopefully this has some. No, it doesn't.
Click the all activity on that. You might be able to see some there, Mahmoud, if you.
Oh yeah, and here's some here.
Broaden it. There you go.
Yeah. So for example, over here, if I'm trying to comp this, what's going to be the most accurate property for me to use when I'm comping? The ones that were listed that sold in April and that sold in March, or the ones that were sold in July 22nd, or the ones that are pending right now, right? Properties that are pending right now. You know what I mean? So these are awesome to use. Obviously, let's go ahead and comp this one. Actually, we'll just do it. Okay. So this is a 1997 house. We know that there's a lot of new builds in this area, clearly. So we just delete most of them. Actually, we can't really use pendings here because these are all new builds. So that wasn't the best example, but is pending and under contract similar, Benson? Like when you guys have them labeled like that?
Yeah, it is. It depends on the market. So we have 4 main statuses. So we try to keep it universally understandable with those 4 statuses. But like a market like Texas or like Dallas, they've literally got like 15 different statuses. And so it's difficult to fit all those into 4. And so sometimes there's like active contingent based off of appraisal. Like it's active contingent, but it's still active. So what this means, what basically pending means, is that they've agreed based off of terms and price, but they haven't actually executed the contract yet. But principally, they've agreed on the price. They're just waiting for signatures. That's what pending is. And then under contract is like we've got executed signatures from both parties, and we're moving forward with the transaction.
Okay, yeah. So I can kind of use the under contract as well then for that purpose. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I can essentially. So this is the seller and the buyer have agreed to sell. So I can technically use this as actually, let's see if we can.
Well, that one is executed, right? So it's pending is the one that doesn't have executed signatures. Under contract does.
Oh, so under contract is a step ahead of pending.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, awesome.
Yep.
All right.
And if I can, one thing that I do when I view it like under contract and pending comps, the first thing I look at is the days on market. If it's a short days on market, then you could think that whatever price they submitted is going to be close to whatever the price is that you see there, because they don't change the under contract price once an offer is submitted. They live at the last list price. So you won't know what that's actually under contract for until it closes. And so people might think, well, how do you use that as a comp? Well, number one, appraisers use active and pending comparables and under contract comps all the time, but it's mostly supporting data. You wouldn't want to make a buying decision wholly on under contract and pending. It's good supporting data though. Another little trick there is, again, the days on market. If it's short days on market, and I mean like within a couple days, but you can go in and check. The other thing you can do is you can actually look at when it went under contract. So if you open up that one there on Treshawn,
right there, right?
is that the
725
date?
under contract. UC. Is that what that is?
Yeah, I guess I didn't even know it showed that. That's great. I learned something today. So I would
Yeah.
typically go in and look at the transaction history. So
Yeah.
the other trick there is ask. So I have an agent that I use when I'm doing my deals. I actually have my agent call the agent for this pending comparable and ask them, hey, listen, we're comping some properties here in the area. Just curious, did this go under contract at asking price? Right. And then they can actually fish for information and you can get more info than what is publicly available.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's diving deep, man. That would extremely help. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I'm going to go ahead and see, and just kind of go through this because this is a very good example to go through. Let's just kind of reset everything and let's comp this, and we might end up using some of this data under contract as well. So let's go ahead and comp this out. All right, so I don't want to use this 1940, so I'm going to cross it out. Let's go on over the solds. Okay, so I don't want to use the 2021, so we're going to cross that out. Let's reverse the year built. So now we're going from 1997 to 2001, and this is 1977. That all works. We can use those. Let's remove this active. The pendings, again, we're going to remove all of them because they're all 2022. Okay. I don't need, the rentals sometimes help, but I don't want them to just clog up, take up all this space. So now we're going over here on the solds. We're going to kind of just come in and look at the dates. So we don't want to use these oldies over here. Take these out. All right.
So oldies, you meaning by the date it's sold, right?
The sold date. Yeah. Like I'm trying to, like, for example, over here, this is all in the last, basically, last 90 days sold. So I'm just kind of making it a little bit easier because there's no way I wanted to use anything from January 2022. So I'm over here. I'm just looking at, what's in front of us. So now what do I have in front of me? All of these houses are from 1997 to 2001. Fantastic. And all of these houses are at least like these were flipped or sold May 10th or recent or newer. So I just I like to do that to make what's in front of me look a little bit more clean instead of just having 30 properties overwhelming me. So now I can kind of just look in here and just go to the highest ones, and I can see, right? Here's this under contract one at 339. And then here's this 355. So let's take a look at these. And then there's this 320. So we're going to just kind of take a look. So let's look at the highest one. All right. This was July 5th, 2022, 3.2. It's within 200 square feet and it's year 2000. All right. Lot size is good. So looking at this house, it's pretty similar to me. Doesn't seem too bad. Let's come in and let's see what it looks like. Looks fine. Looks good. Yeah, I can't tell if it was flipped or not because pictures almost look exactly the same. But it definitely
look flipped to me.
Doesn't look flipped. Looks like just an owner bought it in 2018 and sold it at 2022 without doing too much damage. But yeah, so at least this number is great, but the percentage here doesn't really tell us much. So we have a 355. Let's look at this 320. It's a 2-story, so I don't care about it. Let's look at 304, 1537, 32, 2000. All right, we like that. Let's look at some view external listing. Okay, so nothing super new in there. Yeah, this wasn't flipped either. let's see. All right. All right, so we got 305 over here. 32, similar square footage, similar year built, similar in lot size. Actually, this is a little bit bigger of a lot size, but we'll look at it. Looks decent. Was this flipped? Nope. Okay, so none of these were flipped, but this is telling us a little bit about, you know, the ARV. But again, the ARV is almost solely based on, I want it to be like, you know, ideally a remodel, like a recent remodel. These are clean, they're pretty good, but they could be fancier for sure. And then our under contract is a 2-story. Okay, this is renovated. This is what we're talking about. So unfortunately, I can't use this because it's a 2-story and we have a 1-story. So this is a great example for me to comp, because now you guys are seeing me live doing my brainstorming, trying to figure this out, because it's not entirely obvious, right? It's not. Okay. So I'm going to take a look here and see. So I don't want to use the 2-story. I don't want to use the 2-story. I like the 1-story and the 1-story. So I might try, how about this? Do we have any others? All right, 305. What's this 286? I'm not going to use this if it's not renovated, but let's see that one. Yep. Okay. Okay. Yeah, so our 3 contenders are this one and this one, the 355, the 305, and the 304. Would you agree, Benson? Benson? I just wanted to see your thought process as well, if you're still there.
Thank you. Yeah, I agree.
These are our 3 contenders.
It is. You know, when this thing was flagged as a deal, that there was a comp that was a little newer that you eliminated. So it basically eliminated this from being a potential wholesale or fix and flip contender. But now you're still showing the comping process, right? That's what's the important part, is that you're still comping, you're still following through with the comping. And then what you can determine from this point is that if you were going to submit a deal or an offer, then you're going to have to go way in lower than ask price to make the numbers work. And that's oftentimes what you have to do, is that you realize, oh, this doesn't make sense at asking price. Well, at what price do you have to get it at for the numbers to work? And so I think you're right in line with that. And you know, I wouldn't submit an offer on this as an on-market deal, because that would just be a waste of time. They're never going to accept an offer that 40% below or 50% below ask price on something like this. But the comping exercise you're going through is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I'm not going through this to try and say that it's a deal. The idea is we're trying to get an ARV. Exactly. So for a property like this, I would say that honestly, it's listed around its own ARV, right? Maybe it's a little bit on the higher side, right? Because this thing over here is 350. It's bigger, and it's for a little bit less money, right? So yeah, if I were to put this in as an ARV, I would probably use all 3 of these comps, and I might personally just average them. I might average all 3 of these and just call that the ARV for this, because they're all within the square footage limitations. They're all within the year built, all within the lot size. They're all 3 2s. They're all single story, and that would be my ARV. Yeah, but I wouldn't put an offer on this. No way, because no, this is not a distressed property, and it's not something that, you know, I think would get accepted. So yeah. I hope I'm making I'm making it clear to people the difference between comping and then analyzing and pricing a deal, right? Because comping is just, here's an ARV and here's the price, or here's ARV and here's the comp property. And people should get really good at, you know, doing the exercise of constantly trying to get good ARVs. And, you know, it's going to be a process, and some stuff is going to be easier than others.
You know, Mahmoud, what this also illustrates well is that if you are trying to comp a property out that's not in an area where there's renovated homes, you can't determine ARV, right? There wasn't any evidence to base that on.
No,
So
there
this is
wasn't.
why, if you're searching for deals, you guys, and you're not in an area where there's lots of investor activity, you're wasting your time. Like, you're never going to find a property that you can get at a discount that it's worth your time to invest it. This is why we tell you to go to the high investor activity areas. And I know
Yeah.
it's probably sounds like we're beating a dead horse, but that's how important it is. Mahmoud just illustrated that if you chase houses in areas where there's not investor activity, you can't prove after repair value.
You can't. And so that's why Privy has this tool that you use. It's called Privy Coverage. It's on the left. And you can just kind of dig in here.
Good. There you go. Share your screen.
Yeah.
It's that fix and flip button at the top, right? In investor activity.
Yeah. And then you can kind of dig in here and go and just see, these are all of the recently sold fix and flips in all the different markets. So if I wanted to kind of, let's see Nashville over here, I can kind of scroll in and I see 473 have been in this area. So I see that's the highest number. So I'm going to want to dig in a little bit over here. And then I can come in and see, all right, I see a 42, I see a 47, right? It's a little bit dispersed. This area looks like it's pretty good. And then, yeah, this is a nice little investor active area. I can do my market research and just this like, in this little pocket here, right? I can kind of block this off my area if I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And then just start doing market research in this part of town. And then after that, I can, talk to some buyers. Maybe I'll talk to like 1 or 2 buyers for each different rehab type that I put in my market research. And then I just go back in there and I adjust my filter and I find those deals, put in those offers, get them accepted and sell to the buyers that I'm doing my market research. That's easy.
The cool thing about this too is this doesn't have anything to do with what your exit strategy is. If you're doing wholesale, fix and flip, buy and hold, like this strategy is still helping you find areas where you can get good discounts based off of a percentage of ARV. It also isn't specific to doing on-market deals. If you're doing off-market deals, this is actually a little bit more important because you still have to be able to give a distressed seller an offer that makes sense. And you can only do that if you've got a good discount based off of the percentage of the ARV. And the ARV can only be determined if you have renovated homes. Otherwise, you're just guessing.
Otherwise, you're literally just guessing. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if you're in an area, if I get an off-market property in an area like this and I go in, I'll have several comps to use and be able to get a good ARV on it. So, and yeah, I mean, that's actually a thing I started doing on Privy as well. If I get a property sent to me in a market that I'm actually unfamiliar with, I won't just, flat out say I don't do deals in that market. I'll go in and I'll search up that house on Privy and I'll see like what was recently sold around it. And if it's high investor activity, I'll work the deal. I'm connected enough to find someone and, to help me, move this, or I can go and talk to one of these buyers instantly. Literally like just go and, skip trace the buyer and, sell the deal to them. So Privy is extremely powerful, you guys. You can use it for buyers, for deals, and for market research, for everything. It's absolutely phenomenal. I mean,
yeah, guys, and the 20% code ends today. I just put it in the chat for you guys. 20% off your first month for the Secret Weapon Challenge. So make sure you take advantage of that, guys.
Yep. Exactly. And yeah. Emily, did you put my link in the chat, or did you plug the link for everyone for the affiliate link?
Yeah, I was just waiting for you to talk about it.
Yeah. I was saying that I have a link that you guys can use if you haven't joined Astro flipping. You can basically use my link and get I think it's like $500 off, and yeah, that's what you get for being online with me and seeing what we're doing here. So yeah, Emily's gonna put the link for you guys.
Yep, I just put it in there for you.
Sweet. Thanks.
Lots of deals today, guys. Lots of discounts.
Yep. Okay. All right. I think I covered all my content. I want to take some more Q&A. Let's interact with the people.
Yeah, let's do it. Jamil's gonna be back in about 15 minutes, and
Awesome.
let's do Q&A till then. There's a lot of questions you can get into.
Let's do them.
Yeah, somebody was asking about, going in a little bit higher just to lock the deal up and then renegotiating it after to get it down to the price that you originally wanted. What's your perspective on that, Mahmoud?
Could you rephrase that again? I was just trying to piece together.
Somebody was saying, well, let's say you don't think you can get the price you want. They're pushing back. You're not going to be able to negotiate it to the price of where it actually makes sense to make your numbers work. But just locking it up for the sake of locking it up and then renegotiating the price down the road using some inspection, thing, and then, is that a good practice? It seems to me that it can rub some people the wrong way.
Yeah. It's I personally don't do that strategy. That's the retrade. I mean, I don't. I mean, sometimes I lock up, but sometimes that just ends up happening. That ends up being the case. Like I will genuinely, with full intention, get the offer accepted at the price that I wanted, and then later down the road, we found out the buyer realizes that he needs the house to be a little lower, so we will retrade because might as well try. But I won't intentionally put it in an offer that's a little bit more appealing with the pre-intention of wanting to retrade it later. That's a little shady, and I personally don't practice that. But hey, that's me personally not practicing that. But
well, obviously based off the revenue you're generating, it's working.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So what I like to do is, whenever I put it in an offer, I try my absolute best to put an offer in that if it gets accepted, it's selling. All right. It's selling. Right. That's what I do. And so Privy makes it extremely easy. Privy is one of my many ways of getting deals, but with Privy, the awesome thing about it is you can just crank out offers like clockwork on Privy. I mean, you can probably sit down in front of a commute in like a 6-hour window, and I've done about, like, I think the most I've ever done in a 6-hour window on Privy is like 60, 70 offers. I mean, because I literally just put in the offer and send like an email to the agent, and I just go. I don't even talk to them. But then later I started, exploring strategies of actually picking up the phone and talking to agents and, calling them first. And I submitted significantly less offers doing that. But my whole philosophy is that, the more you want, and I talked about this during my last Secret Agent Challenge video, which was the idea is you want to submit offers where you can sell them. And sure, the statistical likelihood of any one offer being accepted is almost nothing. But the statistical likelihood of, for example, 1 in 50 or 1 in 30 or 1 in 60 offers being accepted is almost 100%. Like, think about that, you guys. If you do submit enough offers, it's impossible for you to not get them accepted. So why not, use the strategies that I showed you today about recognizing what a good deal is, right? To make sure that you're putting in offers that if you get accepted, you are like definitely going to sell it. Do that. Because, the worst thing to do is to get an offer accepted for a price that you were just trying to wing. And now you're tied up with this contract. The agent is talking to you all the time and you're nervous. You're trying to sell it and, you can't find a buyer. And it just becomes this extra thing on your plate that's weighing you down, and you never want to lock up another deal again. Like, make it exciting. Make your offers at a price to where if they get accepted, you are selling the thing. You know what I mean? And that's why it's a numbers thing. You got to be putting in lots of offers. You got to be putting lots of offers in. And again, learn what a good deal is. Do your market research. Actually be diligent, because this business is not, this business is built on, like mastering the fundamentals. There's legs to this. There's structure, right? I know how to find opportunities, or you can say that how how to recognize a good deal. And if you know how to find opportunities, recognize a good deal among those opportunities, and find the buyers to sell it to, it's impossible for deals to not close at that point, literally. Like how would they not? How would you have a bunch of awesome buyers and a bunch of deals and being able to recognize the good deals and not close deals? It's impossible. That's why you focus on creating a solid foundation for yourself when you're learning from the beginning, so that deals just close themselves at that point. That's why I don't, that's why I have my infrastructure set up super robust to where I can take, 2 weeks vacation every month if I wanted to, even more than that. Because whenever I want do a deal, I just do one.
It's just like you're pulling a trigger. Well,
yeah.
I have a question for you then, because I know that a lot of the new people, they get stuck on getting deals. I need a deal. And they don't think about the disposition side of the business, right? So do you suggest a better process as far as how you set these things up? Do you say go for buyers first, so that if you get a deal, you have a way of dispoing it? Or do you think you can just wait until you find a deal and then figure it out? What's your recommendation on that?
Have buyers first. I'd say have buyers first. Have why not? It's a couple conversations that you would have with people. You're setting up a goal line, right? You're setting up a goal line, so when you get the deal passed on to you, you can kick it into the goal. So, it's gonna significantly reduce your stress levels. Like, I've done both, right? I've had my buyers lined up first, and then I just, I lock up a deal, gets accepted, and then here, buyer, all right, I'll take it. All right, and that's it. That's done. As opposed to submit offer, gets accepted. Okay, now I got to find buyers. Oh shit, what do I do? And then you're just sending it to everyone. You're calling all these people. You're feeling paranoid. And you're building relationships from buyers from the very beginning, right? You're not allowed, you're meeting those people for the first time. You're essentially just gambling with how the relationship is going to go, right? But if you met a buyer beforehand and you talk to them, you build some rapport, already what their closing timeline is going to be, and kind of how they do business, you can select a buyer that's going to be suitable for that particular deal and the particular constraints available. Because deals are all about, especially on market deals like Privy, they're all about dealing with constraints. Okay, I'll tell you a little bit about constraints. Like, for example, there's a deal I'm working right now in the Atlanta, Georgia market. Right, it's an on-market deal that we have under contract. Okay, here are the constraints. Number one, earnest money is due on Monday. Right, we put in the contract that we have until this upcoming Monday to deposit earnest money. That's a constraint. Other constraint: we are not allowed to have a lockbox on the property until earnest money is received. The third thing, we are not allowed to have the property go pending until earnest money is received. And number four, the agent has to be with the buyer, right, to actually go to the showing. And the person who brought me this deal, because I'm not direct to the agent, I'm the JV partner for the person who has the contract with the seller. This person told the agent, right, that they were the end buyer. So now I have to basically tell my buyer to dress up as you're going to contractor, scene, go, right? So it's like, there's so much stuff that's out of my control that I need to be like, okay, how do we maneuver? How do we skin this? How do we do this, right? And so obviously for me, I would, whenever I do a deal, just at least at this time, it's so much easier when you tell them that you work with partners, you work with an investor partner, so they can at least be aware. At least in my opinion, it's just made my life easier. I know a lot of people think just be the buyer, but it makes coordination. It becomes a logistical nightmare sometimes when you don't do that. So you guys can see the hurdles and the hoops that sometimes you have to walk through. Oh, yeah. So if I have a cash buyer who's my friend, who I've built a rapport with, who I talk to about stuff other than real estate, who just wants me in his life, I can tell him, all right, you're going to be a contractor today. Your name is John. You work at Oracle. go. Okay. And then he goes in, he does his thing, he checks out the house, he puts in his offer, and we get it assigned, and we're solid, right? That's the power of having buyers, is whatever craziness you have going on for that particular deal, it makes it a many times easier when you actually know them.
The relationship's so important. So important.
So important. Like, people sleep on the relationships. Like, having a relationship with your end buyer, just, it's different than just locking up a deal and then introducing yourself to buyers from the beginning. You know, they're not just an email address. Like, buyers are actual people that are going to essentially help you through a lot of the hurdles that you can go through from deal to deal just by knowing them. So I definitely recommend.
Oh, they buy on emotion too, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody buys off the numbers.
Yeah.
And so, like, if your numbers are a little in the gray, they're a lot less likely to push back if they like you, right? If you're buddies, and they're going to be like, oh, well, maybe I won't make my full amount on this one, but Mahmoud's going to bring me a good one next time, and I'll get double the profit. So for them, it's about maintaining that relationship too, and not just, say, oh, screw you, Mahmoud, I don't like that deal. They're gonna be like, you know what, let's do this one, right? I need to keep my crews busy anyway. I won't make 20% ROI. I'll make 10% this time. I'll make it up on the next deal, right? And that's because you build a relationship with them. They're not going to think about it as just business. It's like, I've got a relationship with Mahmoud, and I want to keep this because it's going to go long term.
Yeah.
A really good question here we're getting in the chat. Earlier you mentioned something about you buy a property at asking price and then sell it. What has been your experience with buying on-market properties and the mentality of a buyer who doesn't want to get a property from you that you got from the MLS close to or at market price or above market price? How have you kind of operated within that?
Easy. I only do that when I have a relationship with my buyer and I know he doesn't give, he doesn't care. He doesn't care.
But
I have
they're there though, right? You found one. You found some. I have too.
Oh yeah, they're there. They're there. Like, they're definitely there. Especially over here when I went to my market research and I showed you, like, there's a column that I put purchased on market or off market. A lot of the people that have already purchased deals on market before, they don't care. But even those might want it, $30K below listing. But those are conversations you have. I mean, I have one of my buyers, or I have a few buyers that actually, like, they don't mind if it's a little bit higher, as long as it's on higher than listing, as long as it's a deal. And like, but for example, like, again, something that would not fly is if you send a buyer something that's like $25,000 over listing that was listed 30 days ago, then no, that's a terrible thing, because that's saying that, for the last 30 days, no one has thought of it as appealing enough to buy it. And now you're selling it to a buyer at $30,000 more than the price it was already not appealing at. Right.
Unless there's a story around it, right? Like, I've seen deals before where it went under contract day one, and then 20 days later they cancel the contract because of an inspection issue, because they can't handle the crumbling foundation. Now it comes back on market, and I had a backup offer on it, and so I slid right into first position, and now I've got the deal. So if you can explain the situation away, then you could do that, right?
Yeah, exactly. If it was just tied up, and it's not like it's been ghosted for 30 days, it was just tied up from someone else, you can kind of tell that story and easily do that. But that's also where, like you said, like, the relationship with the buyer comes in. Someone has to be willing to give you the time of day to listen. Because if all you have is a buyer's list and you don't know these people, and there's just a list of emails that you're sending to people, people are going to be making gut decisions a lot without giving you too much time to explain. But if you actually do build rapport, talk to them and get to know them first before you have a deal, then you're going to have a very high chance of doing a lot of things that you wouldn't have been able to do without building the relationship. And honestly, like Brittany said on day 2, when she was showing us how to find buyers, she literally, I think she said something about closing most of her deals in her first year with like the same 5 or 10 buyers. Like, and I that's not just her story. That's a lot of people's story, is that they have only know, like, they have you know, they have all of their buyers on like speed dial. I mean, that's how many there are, just a handful, and that's it. And that sometimes that's all you need. So it really is a quality over quantity thing. I mean, you know, and I experiment with everything, right? So I've tried that and I've loved it. I've also tried, you know, I have, like, for example, my Atlanta buyers list is 3,500 people, and it's a giant list. There's people that I know in there. There's people that I don't know. And there's a lot. And every week I take like a subset of that list, like 200, and I send them a welcome email, and I try to extract verified buyers out of that email. And
That's
then
smart.
I call them and I talk to them, right? That's like the top down approach to building buyers list as opposed to bottom up, but they're both fantastic. But most important thing, build the buyer relationships. Hello, Jamil.
Hey guys, how's it
How you
going?
doing?
Good. We were just talking about the importance of the relationship with the buyers and how it can make or break a deal when you send it over. If they're just looking at the numbers, then it may not make sense. But if they look at the numbers and they like you, then it could make sense.
I mean, honestly, I couldn't agree more with that sentiment. I've built an entire nationally franchised business off of the concept of buyer relationships. This is why I don't subscribe to so many of these gimmicky sort of disposition, you know, softwares or things like that, where there's just no relationship aspect to it, you know. And I think that you leave a tremendous amount of money on the table. I think that you just enter into more noise. You know, I'm the recipient of a lot of those text messages and a lot of those emails where, you know, people are uploading onto a platform and then they disseminate to everybody, and it's all noise to me. It truly is. And I am one of my job is to find opportunities. My job is to maintain and keep my finger on the pulse of what's happening and what's available. And I'm buying deals all day long. But even when it's my job, it's too noisy. It's too noisy. My emails are just overwhelmed with, you know, the same deal coming to me 6 different times. Like, it's just, it's all. And so if I'm out into the world and I'm fixing and flipping houses, or if I'm out in the world doing my W-2 and I'm buying holds when I have opportunity, if I am full-time engaged in whatever activity I'm doing, I don't have the time to look at every wholesaler's email list. I don't. That's
But if
why
Mahmoud sends you an email and says he's got a deal, you open it, right?
1,000%, because you want to know something? Mahmoud's not going to send me a deal like a random person. Mahmoud's going to call me. He's going to text me. He's going to let me know how important I am to him, because he's curated an opportunity for me. Because Mahmoud knows what I want. Mahmoud knows where I buy. He knows what I don't buy. He knows the things that turn me off. He knows the things that turn me on, because Mahmoud and I are in a relationship.
Mm-hmm.
This is the truth of what this means. And, you know, guys, I'm telling you, this is and especially in a market where we have economic compression, relationships are going to be the raft.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Oh my gosh, that's more true than ever. And it doesn't take a lot of time for literally everyone here who's watching to just talk to just 5 buyers in your market and just talk to them, be friends with them, just get to know what they want to purchase. Just start building that relationship. I mean, you could probably build an entire thriving 6-figure plus company with just 5 to 10 buyers if you really did, you know, build an awesome relationship. You don't have to be sending out a deal to 3,000 emails and, you know, just replying to people and getting your deal, you know, just in a whole mess of stuff. You want to be able to be at a call and response relationship with a buyer, especially in time sensitive situations. And there's this whole preconceived notion that we need lots of buyers, lots and lots of buyers.
No, you need strong relationships.
Yes.
Strong guys. I did a video on my YouTube channel. If any of you guys aren't subscribed to my YouTube, go and do it. There is a video I did called the depth of relationship. And I teach you how to deepen the relationships that you have with your buyers. And you can actually move a buyer through what I call a door score, right? The depth of relationship score, where you start off at a transactional relationship and then you're being invited to their children's weddings. Get there.
Yeah.
That's how you're
100%.
going to be the boss in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man.
What a incredible last few days, right? I mean, if we could for a moment recap, we have had, I've been getting so many messages and I'm seeing so many comments. Mahmoud, people are they're enamored with you. Benson, people absolutely adore you. Emily, everybody's in love with you. This challenge, in my opinion, has been the greatest one we've done so far. Not to discount the other challenges. The secret agent challenges are phenomenal. Everybody who presented is phenomenal. This secret weapon challenge was different because we hit on a few different aspects, right? The secret agent challenge is really just about agent relationships and watching different people have those conversations so that we could see different personality types and how they can communicate and engage with real estate agents to create a business. Here, what we did is we went through acquisitions, finding buyers, workflow, comping. This was a business in a box. This challenge, if you are sitting on the sidelines right now and you haven't gotten your first deal, go back and watch day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, over and over and over and over and over again. And you will find that you have enough resource, you have enough knowledge, you have enough runway to take off. And this is what we do. We give this to you for free. We do this because this is what it means to create and build community. So folks, thank you all for tuning in. Benson is doing a training for anyone that's taken advantage of the 20% discount that he provided for us during the secret weapon challenge. If you still haven't done that, guys, you still have a moment to get in, and then you will receive the link via email to join Benson's private training that he's going to be putting on for everybody who took advantage of that 20% off. Dude, I wish I got 20% off. Why didn't you give me this code back in the day, bro? Anyhow, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. But
it was a new idea. I'm evolving.
You did it. It's a great idea, and we appreciate that. Everybody, give it up for Mahmoud. Mahmoud, you crushed it, bro. You are a savant, and we absolutely adore you, dude. This was an incredible value. You really opened up a lot of our eyes on how to be proactive in valuing property in this changing market, and that was a masterclass, and we are grateful to you. Mahmoud, how do people find you if you haven't already shared your social media handles? Please do it now.
Yep, right here.
Amazing. Guys, Mahmoud has a YouTube channel, so make sure that you subscribe to his YouTube channel. Mahmoud has a phone number. Make sure you text him pictures of your pets, and also email Mahmoud. Do deals with this guy. He's legit. This guy's a crusher, right? Go do business with this man. And lastly, I would love for any of you who have not joined the Astro Flipping Mentorship. Mahmoud, for a moment, would you just share with people what the mentorship and community is like?
Well, basically, it's everything you'll need to build a successful business and to satisfy the social component of your life, like all at once. Like, it's a family, but it's also a mastermind group. And if you literally need help with any small component, no matter how large or how small of this business, people help you. So it really is the community, but also the constant dedication of the staff to continuously up their game and add more value and content. I mean, if you think the YouTube experience is great, try being in it. It's a completely different world. It's a game changer. So.
And if they join Astro, they can't count on seeing me, right?
Jamil provides a significant portion percentage of his life to being live with everyone every single week in a row. And so you literally feel like you're best friends with him because of how much you guys are on Zooms with Jamil. It's absolutely amazing.
I love it. This is where I dedicate my entire life. I love this community. I love my family. I love this business. And if you guys can't tell that I'm passionate about this, then you probably don't have a soul. I love you all so much. Thank you for spending the last 4 days with us. This has been an honor. There is nothing greater in the world, no greater resource in the world than time. And we appreciate the time that you spent with us. So, everybody watching right now, take control. I get emotional because I think, God, this changed my life. You know, you guys changed my life. This community changed my life. This business changed my life. And you all have so much opportunity ahead of you to do the same. I want to see you win. I want to see you all win. Until the next challenge, everybody, be well. Keep God in your heart. Crush it. We'll see you in the next one.